the next kind of step in the process that we've started utilizing is workflows. Prior to Procore, we had a very disjointed system. We didn't really have much of a system at all. Kind of like I mentioned at the beginning, I started as an administrative assistant. Any of you in your lives that are one, have one close to you, you know we kind of are the source of everything. We have lists and things that we're trying to keep track of. If I forgot to list when I had something come back, the whole process seemed to go in array. So we started utilizing workflows on all of our projects. Workflows have really allowed us to have accountability, to make sure that we can see right where the process is for different things. We're going to go over some of the tools that I've applied workflows to on our projects, and they've just really helped us to see right where the process is for that certain document. So prior to Procore, our contracts, like the workflow that we had wasn't really much of a workflow. Like I said, it was a spreadsheet. So I had a spreadsheet called contracts whereabouts. As a PM or someone would contact me and say, hey, I need a contract. I had a column for everything. When I received it, when I sent it to the GC, when I got it back, when I sent it to our people to sign. It was very disjointed. If I was gone for a day and forgot to update something, it was a lot of work to just try to track down where that process was. So we implemented workflows on our contracts tool. So in the commitment tool, we just recently switched from POs to contract. And basically, as you can see in this workflow here, it kind of is twofold helps us distinguish between a purchase order and a contract, all by asking one question. So we have one question on our commitments that says, what type of contract is needed? If the person filling out the commitment says, I don't need a contract, this is just a purchase order, it goes down the right-hand side, where we are not yet integrated with our ERP, so we go down that side of, I need this requisitioned in Strategize, our capital planning that we use. That goes down that side, they get a PO, and then it's completed. On the left-hand side, it's a more rigorous process. If a contract is needed for a consultant, an architect, GC, what have you, we want to make sure the type is accurate. Then we get all the information in the commitment. So we send it to our internal people, and then we also send it to the GC, architect, whoever, to fill in their stuff. COI, who's on your project team? Do you have any vendors that are working on this as well? We get all the information early so that our contract templates can be filled out appropriately. We can send it on to both people to sign and go through with it. It's a great tool that's really helped us. So the next process we use workflows for is for our change orders. So Carle Health utilizes potential change orders and commitment change orders. Basically what we do is the potential change order is kind of all on our contractor to complete. So the commitment tool, once that commitment is created, they can go to their commitment, they fill out PCOs. Once they have pricing or if they're waiting for pricing, they can then submit that for review. That's kind of where the meat and bones of the change order lives, is in the PCO, because it goes through our approval process of based on dollar limits, who can approve what, PM, their manager, director, VP, whatnot. And then it kind of goes through the end of the process where both people, or excuse me, where the PCO then just lives on that project. After that, it's the Carle PM's job to batch all those PCOs together and then create one commitment change order. What's my favorite about this is they can just say complete with DocuSign. They do that in DocuSign, both parties sign, and then that CCO just lives against that commitment in the project forevermore. It's really been a game changer.
Yeah, and I think if y'all noticed, and I saw some pictures being taken, every single workflow was different, right? And so knowing that you can have different workflows of different complexity for different tools and different needs, and even the same tool on different projects. So you have a lot of opportunities, and this is totally self-service, so you all are able to build these yourselves, which I think is fantastic. And then the final piece, DocuSign, I love because it's a free integration that fits right directly within Procore. And seeing Procore as that central hub, I sort of think of it almost as like, you know, when I think of my SUV, right? It gets me where I need to go. It gets my kids to school. My dog can fit in the back, my groceries. But there are certain things it's not going to do. So it lets me connect to my cell phone. It lets me put a trailer hitch on when we need to go to the beach and we need a little more space. And we're doing the same thing here. We want you to be able to connect to those other systems that you already utilize, or maybe others that you're not even aware of. When I first started at Procore, I think we often talked about having about 350 at marketplace integrations, and now we have over 500. And a lot of our great partners are here upstairs, so you might be able to meet some folks that help solve another challenge that maybe your organization is facing. So I always recommend just taking a look at the latest at marketplace lists to see if there's other opportunities to connect.
So I definitely don't mean to play favorites, but the invoicing workflow is by far my favorite. Prior to Procore, again, it was a very disjointed system. We had an Excel document, again, that we had to update. When did the invoice come in? Was it attached to a purchase order? Is it more of a direct cost? What's going on with this? It was not great. It was a hot mess. So we incorporated workflows on our invoicing tool. This is actually the first workflow we incorporated for our projects. Basically, same thing. We put it on our GC or our contractor to come in, find their commitment. What I didn't really mention earlier was we actually have our purchasing team, when they send out the purchase order, it says on the purchase order, this is how you're going to invoice in Procore. It kind of gives them the directions. So that vendor, GC, whoever that gets that, they know exactly where to go into Procore to find their purchase order. They find the commitment, purchase order, add their invoice, and then it goes through the approval process again based on dollar limit to go through. We approve it, and then what's even great about that at the end is it goes directly to our accounts payable team to just pay the invoice from there, which has saved everyone a bunch of time and money, so it's awesome.
And Alicia, when we were preparing for this presentation, that was a comment that you made. So how much time and money would you say that saved you?
Yeah, it saved us a ton of time and money. It feels like days. Prior, again, to Procore, we had a very disjointed system, meaning when our contractors were like, hey, I want to get paid, they would send it to our accounts payable team. They would send it to us. If they didn't hear back in a timely manner or what they thought was a timely manner, they would send it to other people that they knew, maybe facilities or maintenance, and say, hey, can you tell me what the status is? So sometimes we had multiple payments, right? We were double paying things. So really, this has made things so much easier because it's all right there against that commitment, and has saved everyone just days of time and money. So. All right, so kind of like I mentioned in the beginning, it's me and my team's role to make sure we're configuring the project to work as best as it can for everyone that utilizes it. So in addition to those configurations I talked about in workflows, other things we do are applying other configurations or things to the project, to other tools within the project to make sure it works well. And one of those is submittals. So I mentioned at the beginning also that we have our own internal design team. So sometimes on projects, they're the ones that are kind of like the say-so and the final say. Other times it's the architect that we hired. So what's really cool about submittals is you can create workflows to kind of say, hey, I want this to go to our internal design team and then to the architect, or it just needs to go to this person. You can create it based on the type of submittal that's going to be coming in. You can also change the statuses, right? I've had architects tell me, I'm not okay with the approval comment. I want to say reviewed only. And I can change that to say reviewed only. So that's been an awesome tool as well.